bring 22,000 high-quality union jobs to southeastern Connecticut. And I'm pleased and honored to be standing here today with so many supporters and to be such a part of such an esteemed team. We have industry leaders, professionals, producers, Hollywood executives here to show their support for UTOPIA and its effort here in eastern Connecticut. That support of so many recognized industry leaders, officials, and supporters within the last few months. It's something that gives us really more of a sense of progress and a hope for prosperity than ever before here in eastern Connecticut. It is my distinct pleasure at this time to introduce really the driving force. He needs no introduction. People all over southeastern Connecticut have come to know him not just as a representative of UTOPIA, but really because of the time that he's spent, the effort he's put into this. They've come to know him as their friend. And that's the Chief Executive Officer of UTOPIA Land Development Corporation.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here this afternoon. I'm here today to say that we remain committed to the project and we are ready to move this project forward. We have a number of industry executives here today. They're going to share with you what they've brought in the film industry and the arts entertainment industry to other places such as Louisiana and similar projects as we're proposing here today for Connecticut. Before I introduce my lovely wife, I'd like to announce that UTOPIA will be holding an informational meeting once the kids are back to school. Please feel free to call Town Hall, possibly Monday or Tuesday, and ask them for the details. We're going to ask them to utilize one of these school properties to hold that public meeting. And I hope that everybody would come. Bring your family, bring your friends. It'll be both informative, enlightening, and more importantly, it'll be fun. So with that, my lovely wife, our chairwoman of UTOPIA Studios Limited, Mrs. Kathy Moriarty Gentile.
I can't thank you guys enough. Look at this. This is wonderful. And especially I can't thank all of you for coming out. You guys make me speechless. And it's really nice to see my husband. I'm a little jealous, if you want to know the truth, because you guys see him more than I do. My son today, he said, "Mom, you better not forget your ring. You're going to see Dad." So I was I said, "You're right, Joey. I better put that ring back on." But he bought me an extra one in case. I didn't know where mine was. So I thought it was very cute. But I just want to say hi again, and many thanks to all our friends, supporters, and God willing, hopefully all of you will be our neighbors very, very soon. And in addition to calling Town Hall, please don't hesitate to write me personally and make sure that you come up and say hello to me, all of my friends. We're willing to talk to you, answer any questions that you have, if we have the answers, because I'm sure that we have plenty of answers at our informational meeting, and we want to get to know all of you. As we intend on being your neighbor and working with you and your children and your families at UTOPIA together. As a team, we want you to join our team and become one. That's what it's all about. It's about the community. We came to the community to begin with, and we asked your opinion, and we want to make you happy. We're trying to do everything we can in order to make the community happy and go within those guidelines. And it's great to see everybody here today. And I'd also like to say hi to everybody who's not able to be here, people that are working, and all the people that are out there getting ready for all the kids going back to school, going crazy, which I was doing all week. And just a couple of things. I'd like to say that the UTOPIA project is better than any one person, committee, or board of any kind. The hospital site has done nothing for its taxpayers in 12 years. UTOPIA creates 22,000 union jobs for you and your families with excellent benefits. Okay? Utopia will cut Preston's taxes in half. Utopia will be an economic catalyst and expand an already incredible existing tourism base. Utopia will give your children and grandchildren a great education without burying you in bills. Utopia will keep Hollywood making movies here in America. Very important. Here in Connecticut, here in Eastern Connecticut. Utopia will provide your children and grandchildren with the chance to raise your families here at home, where I wanted to stay, here at home, but I had to go. Utopia will bring prosperity, education, and culture, as my friend Rob Lowe would say, that Hollywood magic and good old-fashioned family fun for all of us. How much information is enough? Well, some have said that they'll never have enough, and I'm sure that our agreement was clear, and Utopia stands, as always, on firm ground. I've paid our very, very competent lawyers to work it out with the Wall Street lenders and provide the town with a common-sense solution that eliminates any concern even the most cynical of people could imagine. They have found that solution. Utopia Studios is going to further secure and guarantee the town's interest. Now, before I allow our attorneys to explain this in simple terms, I want to thank everyone for being here, especially you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you most of all, and all of my friends. Okay, now that I got all the hard stuff over with, our next speaker is a dear old friend to all of us. He's been in our living rooms and on the big screen for years. Not only is he an incredibly gifted and honored actor and gentleman, he is also known for his dedicated commitment to the Screen Actors Guild with a lifelong commitment to our union, where I have been a 26-year member. He is a two-term president of our national union and advocate for all Hollywood actors and actresses. I have had the honor of working with him on the big screen, Mr. Richard Masser.
Hi, I'm very, very glad to be here today. I think as from the time that Kathy first told me about this project, I was very excited. While I was at Screen Actors Guild and since then as well, I have made it my business, and it is my business, to make sure that production of film and television be healthy and stay in the United States. When I was the national president of the union, I worked very hard to make that happen, and the fruit of some of that labor, I'm going to take a tiny bit of credit for what just passed in the U.S. Congress, has resulted in a bill which will create a significant tax incentive to shoot in the United States, and that is absolutely necessary in an age where every other country that wants film production is offering significant incentives. So we're very, very happy about that. Also, as other people will tell you, there are incentives that have been created in states around the country. Connecticut is not one of them yet. One reason that Connecticut has not created incentives to shoot film in this state is because, frankly, there is very little film production capacity in this state. Utopia Studios will change that dramatically. And because many of us have, in this industry, and I gesture broadly because we have producers here, we have other people who work in this industry, and as well as Kathy and Ron and myself. Many of us have spent many, many months of our lives, if not years of our lives, in hotel rooms in Vancouver, in Toronto, in Montreal, in London. And now, some of that sounds exciting to some people. Trust me, it's not very exciting. We would much rather be much closer to home. And the beauty of a studio in this location is it sits directly between Boston, New York, where there are significant both crew and talent bases. There is more than enough crew right now that could be utilized in Boston, New York, and all the area in between to staff this studio. Plus, as time goes on, more will be needed because many of us are moving on in years and will have to be replaced. And one of the beautiful things about this project is the training program that will be put in place for both on camera and behind the scenes people to train up another generation. One thing you have to know is the way that the country of Canada, I won't say stole, but how they wooed away the film industry and the television industry from the United States was not only did they offer significant tax incentives and rebates, but what they did that was so effective was they gave the productions free labor by giving them trainee personnel so that their people could learn to make films in the style and in the along the methods that we utilize in the United States to shoot film and television. And basically, we transferred our technology from the United States to Canada, then we transferred it to South Africa, to Australia, to New Zealand. Not that they don't have their own high-quality, homegrown talent, but they learned every single trick in the book that we know because our people taught them. What we need to be doing is teaching our people right here in the United States, and Utopia Studios will have a lot to do with making that happen. I hope that whatever minor issues stand between the agreement that was made and the ultimate conclusion and beginning of this project can be resolved in a very short time, because what's happening now is work is starting to move back into the United States, and what you don't want to have happen is other production centers spring up in other places before Utopia is up and running, and that you guys will have built a field and nobody comes to play on it. So do this now. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Richard. There are a few special guests that I just want to mention in the audience, and we're so pleased to have them here today and to have had their support all along, beginning with the state representative from the City of New London, Mr. Ernie Hewitt. State Representative Walter Pawlikevich from the town of Wyndham. One of my very best friends in the legislature, State Representative Linda Orange. There are so many positive aspects to this Utopia development. We've heard so many of them mentioned in the few short minutes that we've been here today. 22,000 new jobs to clean up a piece of property that's been sitting dormant for 12 years to the tune of $40 million, to really bring Hollywood excitement and entertainment to southeastern Connecticut. It's been 32 months, and we're getting there. And in order to push us forward, we need leadership from people like Ernie Hewitt, Linda Orange, and Walter Pawlikevich. But we also need leadership from people like Jim Amon. And at each step of the way, since he has taken the helm as the Speaker of the House in the state of Connecticut, I have been so proud to watch him and the effort that he has put forward to help create jobs, to provide for economic prosperity. In that time, he's been working so hard that in addition to cheering for the Yankees in New York yesterday, he's happened to have lost his voice. So I don't think we're going to have the pleasure of hearing from him today. But, Mr. Speaker, all of us are at Utopia. We're proud to have your friendship, we're proud to have your support, and we are so pleased to see you here with us today. At this point, I want to call on Utopia Studios' Chief Financial Officer, Chris Thompson, for just a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone, and joining us once again. So that we are clear, Utopia Studios had money to build this $1.6 billion project, and Utopia Studios comply with each of the requirements of the MOU. In addition to that, at the request of the town, we have taken what we feel is the extra step of providing additional information. And what that additional information includes are responses which you can find in the public domain, as we suggested at our last press conference, of studies and reports that can be relied upon in order to push this project forward. In addition to that, the committee members had some 200 or so questions that they wanted responses to. We took the time and we responded to those questions and we forwarded that to the town. At this point, that is behind us. We should be ready now, and we at Utopia are ready now to create those 22,000 American jobs. What we need to do at this point is to finalize language agreeable to the parties, to the attorneys, to the bankers. But we are here today to tell you that Utopia Studios has exceeded the expectations of, I think, even the town, because what we have done is we have offered them an ironclad financial guarantee, unprecedented in development. And essentially, what that mechanism is, it's a tax lien that will go in front of any financing. And as the project moves forward and those bills are paid, which is the concern of the town, that lien will be depleted. But what's important about this mechanism is that it doesn't secure the town of Preston when it's built. That's when the money is there. Their concern is secure us now. This is a big step for us. Let's make sure that we can get from here to there. So what we developed was a ironclad guarantee to do just that. And we're hopeful that the town and their attorneys can get their arms around that concept and agree that this is what is best, and this is what 86% of the people of the town of Preston want. And make no doubt about it, the reason why the people want this is because they see that it's a good and positive thing for them individually. Utopia comes to the table and does what no one else has done, not just here in Connecticut, but anywhere. We're giving a huge amount of money in order to work with the people of the town of Preston, and we're taking huge steps in order to mitigate any concerns that they may have. At the end of the day, what that means to the town of Preston, their property taxes cut in half. Incredible benefits for everyone that lives within the town. Doesn't stop there. Incredible benefits for everybody that lives in the region. At the end of the day, $150 million a year in sales tax and other tax revenues for the state. Everybody in the state wins. We need to push this project forward. The jobs are here. We're here. We need to get this done, and we appreciate everybody's support in doing that. We're counting on the town to do the same, and we're confident that we can all work together to move this project forward and to do it now. Thank you.
Without the help of organized labor, we simply wouldn't be where we are today with regard to this development proposal. And at this point, I'd like to call on the leader of labor's effort in Connecticut, Mr. John Olson, for a few words.
First, I'd like to say that we've had some good news here in eastern Connecticut. We've saved a submarine base. Now with that, we saved some jobs, a lot of jobs. But we've also lost in the state 50,000 manufacturing jobs in the last 10 years. Now this is an opportunity for us to create 22,000 good jobs. And you know why they're good? because they have benefits and they have pensions and are union jobs, and that's why we're here to support this project. Now, the AFL-CIO, representing 220,000 workers in this state, but really beyond that, their families and all workers, I believe, have supported this project from the beginning. We've done it with our executive board more than once. We've turned around and had a convention where we had unanimous support, and we've come together to support it. And let me tell you who that is. That's going to be construction workers to build this project. It's going to be the tourism industry and the service workers that are going to work in there. It's going to be teachers educating. It's going to be the film industry that's going to be up there working. But more importantly, it's going to be every worker in the state of Connecticut who understands economic development. This state needs a tax base. We need economic development. We need to get on and do something. I'll tell you what, I haven't heard of any other plan, so let's go and get this job done so we can stop losing jobs, hemorrhaging, and get about making something for our state. Now, let's get behind it, all of us, the community. 85% to me is more than a consensus, and I'll tell you what, if we did a referendum here in Eastern Connecticut, and I would say in the state of Connecticut, people would say, get on with it. So I'm happy to be here on behalf of the working men and women of this state to support this project. Let's get about it. Utopia, 22,000 jobs. Thank you all for being here.
It's such a pleasure in working on this to see Hollywood actors and actresses as represented here by our good friend Richard Masser. But there are people behind the scenes that we don't see on the big screen who are just as important, if not more important, to making that production come alive. Mark, I'm actually beginning to enjoy introducing you like this because I know a bit about your background. Our next guest, Mr. Mark Lipsky, managed Eddie Murphy for more than 10 years. He co-produced the Arsenio Hall show, has worked closely with Chris Rock, and has to his credit more than $1 billion in revenues in Hollywood production. Mark Lipsky is a big hitter by Hollywood standards, and we are so pleased to have him here in Eastern Connecticut to talk to us today.
I'm sure no one in this room recognizes my face or never even heard my name for that matter. But the fact is, I have produced or executive produced movies that have grossed over $1 billion, including Coming to America, Nutty Professor, and a few I better not mention because they weren't so good.
We all have those.
It would be very easy for us to parade celebrities here in front of you, but the fact of the matter is there are hundreds of production people that are probably even more important than these celebrities. People that make the production process go, without whom there would be no movies. And these are people that we will be training at the Utopia School of Arts, people that will give their support and production abilities to these movies. The management team at Utopia is very well experienced and very well respected. And that also goes for CEO Max Howard, who was a senior executive at Warner Brothers and Disney and is considered a wizard on animation and family film projects. I would also like to say that American entertainment, I think, is the #1 American export. The #1 American export. Preston should tap into that. It's ridiculous, the delays. I just can't possibly understand the delays here. This is an incredible opportunity for the town of Preston, its citizens, and people in the surrounding area to tap into what would be economically incredible, both for the town and for its citizenry and everyone in the region. It would be great for them, their children, their grandchildren. I don't understand. Seize the opportunity. This is an incredible opportunity for everybody here. Thank you.
Mark, thank you. By way of introduction of our next guest, I just want to tell a real brief story about what transpired in the state of Louisiana. $20 million to direct economic impact of more than $1 billion. And we have with us today the person who is most responsible for seeing that happen, and that's Mr. Malcolm Peddle.
project like this is an unprecedented opportunity for prosperity. For some reason, sometimes when we talk about the entertainment industry, people have trouble seeing it as an industry because you don't think of it as factories, but the entertainment industry is probably economic development in its purest form. When a movie comes to town, it rents out all your hotel rooms, it rents out all your cars, it puts your dry cleaners past capacity, it eats at all your restaurants every night, it's drinking in the bars every single night. The money flows and flows throughout the community like no other economic development tool can ever do. And it comes in, and we've created 8,000 new jobs in Louisiana in just 2 years, and those are 8,000 union jobs, starting salaries $20 to $45 an hour, pension, health, welfare, guaranteed overtime, meal penalties. This is a way to bring money into the community, disperse it throughout the community quickly, and it is, in my mind, and I get a little patriotic about it, it is a patriotic duty. We lost 100,000 film jobs in the 1990s. When we lose film jobs, we build infrastructure in other countries. When we build film infrastructure, we build creative industries in other countries, and we lose our ability to control world culture. And that has actually been an incredibly forceful part of how America was a dominant force of the 20th century. The Europeans get it, the Japanese do it, and if you do projects like this on this scale, it's going to win-win. It brings jobs and prosperity to your region, and at the same time, it brings jobs back to America, and it brings this industry back to America, and allows us to be competitive in the 21st century. So I applaud everyone here today for the gargantuan effort they're doing to bring this kind of project here. Thank you.
Our next guest we've seen here many times since the beginning of this, and we're so happy to have him here back again. He needs really no introduction, Mr. Ron Perlman.
Well, I was going to say something about the 86% referendum, but John said that, so I can't. I was going to say something about working abroad, but Richard Mazer covered that, so. Oh, wait a minute. That's my parking ticket. I got to save that for later. I've been in those hotel rooms all over the world. I've worked in places that you wouldn't even know were places. And having been there, I can vouch for the fact that they're not. And while I was busy doing that, an obsession started building in me to try to become a small part of coming back to where I learned the craft of what I do, and that is right here in the United States of America. So I have been very, very fortunate in some of the people that I've met on my travels, and I brought, a couple of dozen of them here with me today. I would like to introduce my producing partner, Mark Sennett. Where are you, Mark? Mark and I just finished a project with Malcolm down in Louisiana, and Mark, was able to go to Arizona and convince the legislature that they needed to give incentives to get film production going down there, and they were successful. And here we are here in Connecticut, hoping to jumpstart this region. It's very, very, very crucial that we have all facets of the United States covered. I was fortunate enough to meet Joe and listen to his vision about what he planned to do in this region. And frankly, I can't for the life of me think of why I keep coming back here and stating this over and over again, but it is worth repeating. Let me introduce some of the other fellows. Mike McGinn from Arizona. Helped write the legislature in Arizona, and we're about to see that region explode in all of the ways that Malcolm just referred to, which I can't refer to anymore because I was going to cover that too. Craig Sheftel is another producer, works all over the United States in the same capacity. I think I ripped off a couple of names here. Who else was I going to introduce? Corey, help me out here.
I got it all.
Thanks.
Saved it just in case.
Yeah, no, nobody's interested in him. Robert Gwelly, right here, producer. We all stand shoulder to shoulder with Joe and with the dream of Utopia, and I'm an East Coast guy. I'm also a guy who's, I would love the opportunity to come back here and live out the winter of my years back home where I belong, and you know, do the rest of my work here in the Northeast. And I'm going to keep coming back until the message of this incredible opportunity is truly, truly delivered. 86% of the people in this little community have spoken. So I'm not really sure why we're all still here discussing this, but Joe has, you know, been generous enough to avail himself of answering any questions as to what the confusion is in these town hall meetings. I urge the people to come and participate in those because you can see firsthand the kind of impact that it's going to have. And I think what is most moving, and it was touched upon by some of the earlier speakers today, but what is most moving to me is an integral part of the plan, which I don't think you can overstate, and that is the School for the Arts that UTOPIA will provide, and that is the opportunity to lift up and teach, for me, the greatest craft that's ever been invented, which is the craft of filmmaking, to a community from scratch, and to provide opportunities to those who might not be able to afford it otherwise in the way of scholarships. This is a noble undertaking in every regard. It's going to leave behind a legacy that didn't exist before it, and it needs every single person's undivided attention to make it become a reality. And so I'm going to keep coming back here and stand at this podium, not my favorite looking podium I've ever stood at, until it gets done. Thank you very much. God bless America.
We just want to thank everyone for coming today, and we'd encourage you to look forward to that public informational meeting that we plan on holding in September. To get information with regard to that, 887-5581 will be the number to call. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.